Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. All right, now we're getting into gaming and tech, and I love that I have finally found some good sources for this section because that means every week we've got a bit of stuff to talk about. This week is no exception. We have quite a few follow-ups, one new trailer, and then a big piece of news to get out of the way. So let's do that. All right. So first up in follow-ups, we are talking about Dall-E 2. We've been keeping tabs on the AI art movement as it pertains to the technology behind it. Dall-E 2 was the first of the AIs that everyone kind of took notice of. Now, it has been effectively eclipsed by things like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and other things, Night Studio and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting right now. But the big story this week is that Dall-E 2 is no longer invite only. It is now anyone who wants to sign up can be part of the beta. There are a couple of caveats to how you can use your Dall-E 2 subscription, because again, it is a subscription. You do have to sign up and create an account. When you sign up your account to begin with, you are allotted 50 free credits for your first month. The following month and every subsequent month after that, you are allotted 15 free credits for that month. You can also purchase additional credits. It says in the literature that they released, it says very specifically that you can purchase an additional 115 credits for $15. But it does not say if you can purchase more in a month span or if you can purchase it in smaller chunks. Like say you want to just buy 5 more credits. Doesn't specify any of that, so all we know right now is 115 credits costs you $15. But yeah, you can go check it out. OpenAI.com/Dall-E-2. Dolly spelled D-A-L-L-E, kind of like Wally. Yeah, pretty interesting. I have yet to play around with Dolly because the base AI function is kind of limited by comparison to like Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. And honestly, I don't find it to be as powerful from what I've seen other people doing. I don't find it to be quite as powerful as Midjourney. Midjourney is kind of what it is these days. I've used up all my free credits there, but yeah. So, but the in-painting thing and the extending thing, the extended images thing, is what I'm really interested to go check out. So we will probably do that in stream as well this weekend. But as it stands right now, that's what we've got for Dall-E 2. Let's move right along to Skull and Bones. This one I probably should have put in last week's episode, but it didn't make it in the notes for some reason, and yeah, so we're talking about it now. Skull and Bones, the pirate ship simulator that was bred from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I'm pretty sure, so a long time ago, has been pushed back again. It's been 6 years since they announced the existence of the... No, I take that back. It's been 6 years since this game was supposed to have come out, I believe. And it's been pushed back 5 times in those 6 years. And this is the 5th. It is now going to be coming out March of 2023. So you've got a couple of months. And honestly, at this point, everyone's just saying, Ubisoft, just release it and move on. Because it's going to be very shocking if this does rather well at all. If they make their money back on this, it's going to be a miracle almost. So yeah, it's a very strange situation, but they've sunk so much money into it at this point. If they don't release it, then they just have to eat all of that cost. So better to get some of it back than none of it, right? So that's what we got there. Next, we're talking about the Google Stadia situation. Google Stadia, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard yet, is the cloud gaming platform from Google, and they are shutting down the operation. So this means a number of things. First off, if you had a Google Stadia account, if you had a system, I guess you could call it, because it's not really a console. If you have the controller situation, then you are getting a refund. I was unable to find how much of a refund, if you're getting 100% of your money back, because the way their model was set up was it wasn't a subscription-based model, it was a purchase-based model. So even though all of the content was digital only and you had to download it to play it, you still had to purchase it in order to play it, which seems a little broken. And obviously it is, because Google's just going to suck it up and eat all of the cost for that. Again, I don't know if it's 100% of the cost that you spent on the console or if it's some fraction thereof. But yes, you will be getting a return on your investment. Also, there was a number of projects that were in development. So we have the Hideo Kojima follow-up to not to Death Stranding, but I mean it would have been the next game in line to Death Stranding. But yeah, just a Hideo Kojima project that is no longer happening. There was one 100% original game on the Stadia platform that very likely will never see the light of day again. So really strange situation. That's what we've got on it though. We're moving to our last piece of follow-up news for gaming and tech, and that has to do with Mortal Kombat. This is actually multi-tiered follow-up. First and foremost, there's supposedly going to be some sort of big Mortal Kombat mobile announcement made today. Part of the reason why I went into filming late and why this is getting posted late is because I was waiting for this announcement, but it got to the point where if I don't film now, this is not going to be making it out on the calendar day of October 5th. So we had to go to film. So if I find something in the editing process, I'll put it up on the screen. Otherwise, we'll have to follow up on this part of it next week. But something big is happening in Mortal Kombat Mobile. The bigger pieces about this, Ed Boon has done another Ask Me Anything situation on Twitter, and we've learned a couple of things. The big things we're going to be talking about here are, first and foremost, NetherRealm Studios are in fact working on two separate projects right now, presumably Mortal Kombat 12 and something else. So those two projects are going to be separate from one another. Don't know exactly. He hasn't been able to tell us when either of them is going to be announced, but there are two separate projects. The other big thing with this follow-up is that the 30th anniversary celebration is going to be happening. Ed Boon and company are gearing up to something epic, I believe was the word that was used, on October 8th, presumably, because that is the day that Mortal Kombat 1 came out in arcades. So October 8th, there is going to be some sort of announcement and celebration, but that announcement and celebration are not going to be the next NetherRealm game. Make sense? Okay. So that is our follow-up for Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm as it pertains to the next week or so. That being said, let's move into our next section, which is trailers. And we got one of my favorite trailers for the last little while, and that is Dead Space Remake. We got a gameplay trailer, link down in the description if you want to go check it out yourself. Yes, please, and thank you. This looks so good. So good. I'm super stoked about it. I honestly can't remember right now as we're talking about it if it's going to be coming to last gen and now I guess we can call it current gen, so Xbox One and Xbox Series, or PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 respectively, or if it's just going to be current gen consoles. But either way, this looks so good. This is almost, if it's only on current gen, it's almost enough for me to buy into the current generation. I might still be waiting for Mortal Kombat though, or whatever NetherRealm puts out. But there is a little bit more to it than just this trailer. There was announced that there is going to be a collector's edition of this game, and it's going to be $275, which is a little steep, but you get a whole boatload of stuff. And so you get the digital download so you can play day one, because it's going to take a little while for shipping because it's a rather sizable box. And part of that rather sizable box with this collector's edition is a wearable Isaac helmet. You can wear that very iconic 3 light helmet thing from the game. That looks pretty awesome. Hopefully this does not turn into a Fallout 76 situation where the images that they use to promote the collector's edition and then the actual items in the collector's edition are not even kind of the same. I really hope that doesn't happen. But again, because it is going to take some time for them to ship you your collector's edition, presumably that means they are putting a lot of time and effort into the quality of the items in your collector's edition. All of that being said, that is what we have up until this point. So let's talk regular ass news. And we have one big piece that is going to be sectioned off in regular ass news, and that has to do with CD Projekt. All right, so they made a huge announcement, and actually there is a YouTube video that you can go watch much more in-depth breakdown of this from the developer themselves, linked down in the description. So what this basically is CD Projekt has 5, in my notes I said 4, but honestly, if you really look at it, there's 5 different projects that this company is working on going forward, coming out of Cyberpunk 2077, and actually in a way 6, because of Cyberpunk 2077. So what are those 6-ish projects? So the first one is the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, which will be out, I believe, November is what it said. And then there is a Cyberpunk 2077 sequel already in the earliest stages of development. So that's 2. Number 3 is the next Witcher series is going to be coming out in the future, in the semi-near future. It is going to be a different series, so they're leaving the other series behind, kind of, as it pertains to that project. So that project is codenamed Polaris, and then there is another Witcher game that does exist in the existing series, and that is going to be developed by a third-party developer that has yet to be named just yet. The code name for that one is Canis Majoris, and then the third Witcher game is a completely unique game unto itself that is going to have multiplayer elements as well as a single player story mode, and that one is going to be developed by the Molasses Flood, which is again another studio inside of the CD Projekt umbrella, and the code name for that game is Sirius. So they also what is that? That's the 3 Witcher games. That's the CD Projekt, or the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC plus Cyberpunk 2077 2, I guess. And the 6th thing, because the DLC was the ish. The 6th thing is they're completely starting a brand new IP. So moving forward, there's going to be 3 big main CD Projekt Red properties that they're going to be focusing on, that they're hopefully going to be releasing with some sort of regularity. That's The Witcher, Cyberpunk 2077, and something that we don't know just yet. So, and that is, they said, even earlier in its life cycle than even the new Witcher series. So that is a lot of words and a lot of things to talk about with CD Projekt, but that is where that stands. Again, if you want a more in-depth breakdown from the developer themselves, then go check out the YouTube video link down in the description. And that being said, we have gaming and tech suggestions for the week. We've been trying to keep with the Halloween theme. Music and gaming and comics is a little difficult to stay on that track, especially when we got a new free-to-play game released this week, and that game is Overwatch. Overwatch 2 has been released. There is a free-to-play version of it. I just got it downloaded onto my console, so I don't know exactly what the limitations are of the free-to-play option. There is a $40 option. Presumably that $40 gets you maybe another hero or 2, and I, again, haven't really looked into it just yet, but this is your recommendation for the week, is because this is a great jumping on point if you want to get into this Overwatch thing that has been such a phenomenon over the last few years. Then now is a fantastic time to do it, because everybody is on close to an even playing field, because it literally just launched a couple days ago. So there you go. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.